program to bring you this important message.
Yo, it's Remember the Show. Slick with the flows, where the sparring can go. Who's gonna be on, man, you never will know. Guess you better tune in, cause we live from Chicago. Belal Muhammad, that's the king of the tweets. Jason Anik looks like John, step his hands to his feet. Every Thursday, we gon' give you a treat. It's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat. And retweet, and retweet, and retweet. And retweet, it's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat.
What is up? Welcome back to Remember the Show, episode 99. Sorry, it's been a few days since we've been on, 21 to be exact. Belal Muhammad had more important things to do, like preparing for a title eliminator against Gilbert Burns, from which he emerged victorious, guaranteeing him a title shot in the UFC's welterweight division. Ladies and gentlemen, Belal Muhammad, let's go! Let's go, baby! Cody, how you feeling about that? As good as us? Woo! Woo! Yeah, remember the name, Bully B all day, Team Muhammad all day, from the unranked, unbeaten 10.
Everyone booing at home? Sitting at home booing, watching our boy, huh? I don't hear you.
We could talk about the high kicks. We could talk about all the things about the performance, but you've done a lot of that, been a lot of media. Congratulations, bro. You deserve it all. I love you. Congratulations.
My brother, appreciate you, man. Yeah, like when you put it that way, it's like, dang, we finally got what we've been working for, right? The title shot. That's now knowing that's what's next. And I'm getting you're getting so many people now. Bro, I was having people message me because I posted that John Jones picture of us too. He's like, bro, no way you got that fight. I'm like, know I know that's why you don't know nothing about fighting. It's like the funniest thing in the world. But yeah, man, just blessed. It doesn't even feel like it. It felt like everything was like fast forwarded. It felt like, when we had that week, we're like, oh, 2 more episodes. And then now we're going to be at 100. We're going to have a big show for 100. And I'm like, dang, we're still on 99 right now. Okay. We had to skip a couple of weeks. Forget that, but we're going to have a big 100 next week.
I believe you said on the microphone post-fight that with 3 weeks to prepare, you can beat any welterweight, but with a full camp, you could beat John Jones, right? So it didn't come out of nowhere, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's why I told people, I was like, I didn't mean it like that, but I'm looking for the baddest guy in the world. I'm looking at it like, bro, like my team, knowing what we did in these 3 weeks and the effort we've all put into it and how, if I show you guys literally the tapes that we have of like Gilbert Burns, like we have literally, what does he do off of 1-2? What does he do off of 1-2-3? What does he do off of when he's backs against the cage? What does he do when he's throws his kick? Like we have every single one of his combos read, and we have it all in our head. And that was literally 3 weeks of work, 2 weeks of training actually of what we did to break this guy down. I'm like, give me 8 weeks. What do you think I'll do to any single person in the UFC? We'll break down any single fighter out here, and we'll figure out a way to beat these guys. But people just still don't believe it. People still doubt it, but they don't understand. Like we're a small gym from Chicago. Like we don't have, if you come to my gym, you're like, you train here? This is where you train at? It's like, we don't have all this $1 million equipment and stuff that all these other gyms have. We don't have 60 UFC guys on the mats with us. We don't have none of that stuff. And it's just all about hard work, having trust in the guys, having trust in my coaches, and knowing that, bro, we could beat anybody in the world. I don't care whether you doubt me or not. I'm going to be on top. So you might as well hop on the train now.
I can't get enough. What's up, Cody? You're pretty happy. Good week for you too, huh?
Oh, Team Merrill was really just hitting on all cylinders this past weekend. But like you said, Belal, hop on the train. We've been at this for many years now, almost 3 years now. And at one time when you were unranked, I believe you said, I'll fight 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. People say that. Not many people do it the way that you have done it. Like you have literally fought the best of the best every single time out. No excuses, no pullouts, no nothing. And I'm just so excited to see you finally get your flowers. And if people want to boo, they can boo, but they're going to boo straight to the bank with a title belt on your shoulder. So, a huge congratulations. You've done nothing but put up everything that you've ever said on the show, everything that you've done in the room. It was all on display last Saturday night. Just a complete shutout performance.
And bro, like, and as I'm telling people too, I'm looking at it like, bro, now we're not even looking at title being the champion. It's looking at it like being the best welterweight in the world. If you're looking at the guys that I'm fighting, the rankings that I'm beating, and like, there's no guy out here has 5 ranked wins. There's nobody in the Kamaru doesn't even have 5 ranked wins right now. And he was the GOAT champion for so long. But it's like, at what point is like, I haven't had my shot yet. So once I get the title shot, it's like, literally I get the title shot, I'll be looking at Adesanya next to be a double champ, because it's like, I'm going to have to go through everybody already. And it's going to be like, all right, well, I mean, you want me to go through everybody one more time, or should I start looking upward?
Dude, and I will say, you have said, this is my title fight, talking about the fight with Burns, right? Now, you know what I mean? Just, and that is absolutely a true statement in more ways than one. And isn't it such a treat that we also get a title fight, right? That really was, right? But it ain't over, you know what I mean? And still get a title fight. And I guess we're going to get there later. We'll talk about the future. So I'm going to back up even before the fight. So like for you, how was fight week? I mean, when I saw you, obviously seemed super relaxed. I know you've talked about the ankle all week, but how was fight week for you? Was the ankle like a big focal point for you? Did you know you were just going to deal with it and you had sort of moved past it mentally? Like, how was the week? You couldn't have seemed more relaxed to me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. My guy, that's the thing I love about my team. That's why we come so deep, because we're like, just chill. And for us, it was like, all right, we had to get an Airbnb because we wanted to be away from the hotel. Like, because obviously we don't want people to see if we're limping or anything like that, or something happens while we're training where, all right, well, somebody catches it. Because, there's big workout rooms and everything. So I'm like, we're going to get through it. It's not, like I said, it was never to the point of like, oh, dang, am I going to pull out of a fight for this or that? It's like, no, this is my shot. This is my title fight. This is my moment. So I'm like, all I got to do is push through for 25 minutes. The only issue was just like the jogging, because we couldn't jog to cut weight. And that's what I like to run, and I'm running all the time. So the weight cut was hard because of it. But, working with Ian Larios, dude's the man. Big shout out to Ian. Like, literally dropped everything to come and help me out. And it was a hard weight cut, but the recovery, the getting back to it, like I got replenished perfectly. And it showed like in the fight, where it was like 25 minutes felt like nothing. And I think a lot of it has to do with the way I ate, the way I recovered, put everything back into me, replenished. And I didn't like have any mess ups. Usually I have like a big dinner the night before with like family or something, and we'll go out to like a big restaurant. But I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to take a chance on that. Ian, he made like a pasta that he had, like a sauce that he had like simmering for like 12 hours. He's like, bro, I got you. I'm going to take care of you. My boys got mad because they had like at reservations at the Catch restaurant. It's supposed to be a super nice restaurant down there in New York. And he had to like pay like $1,200 for the reservation up front, because we were going to have like 15 people there. And I told him like, yeah, I'm not going. And then everybody started canceling because I wasn't going. And then like they had to go like 8 deep, but the reservation for like 15 people. And they try to still charge them for 15 people. I'm like, so like they had an argument with him. And I was like, bro, remember I was like, yeah, we didn't want to tell you anything until after the fight. But I was like, bro, no way.
It's nuts.
But so Catch, you suck. Literally, I'm like, how are you going to charge these guys for 15 people if you saw only 8 people there? It made no sense.
I hear you. Well, hey, if they had stayed open late, you could have come back there, or, next night eating for 2 or 3 people.
Man, I'm so mad too, because I'm like, we didn't get to the Airbnb until like 3 a.m. because we had to do our press conference and stuff after the fight, but we had to wait till after the main event was over. And then after the main event was over, we went to go to the media. We still had to wait for Dana White to do his media first. And it was like, we didn't finish until like 3 a.m. So by the time we got to the Airbnb, there was like nothing open. And a couple of the boys brought like fried chicken. But I was like eating healthy for like 2 weeks. Yeah. And I felt like so good. I'm like, bro, I don't want no fried chicken. So Ian ended up making me some more food before he left.
Unbelievable. Post-fight. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, well, so it was good.
We'll get plenty more to talk about with Belal Muhammad and about Belal Muhammad later. But let's talk about the main event. So I want to start just by asking. So main event, Aljamain Sterling over Henry Cejudo. Did you get to watch? Like for me, Team Muhammad, I'm sitting there with the utmost respect to this main event. I'm floating at this point. So really, the main event was just gravy. It's a very happy world for me. So, I mean, were you watching it? Could you even focus on it? Where were you at?
I didn't watch it the day of, but I watched it the next day. I wanted to rewatch it because everybody was saying how close it was, and they were talking about like the 5th round and everything. So after rewatching, I'm like, it was a very close fight, and it was good. It was like, I think that Cejudo, it took him a little bit, probably like the 2nd or 3rd round when he like fully got aware of the being back to normal. I think it took him a little bit. He was a little gun shy at first, and realizing how big Aljo was. I just think that he didn't realize how good he was with, using his kicks, using his length, using his size and everything like that. So by the 4th and 5th round, I think that's when Henry was kind of like comfortable. But to me, I thought it was a good decision. I thought Aljo won. If they gave it to Henry, I wouldn't really call it a robbery, but it was very close. But I definitely gave it to Aljo.
You know, and sometimes at high level mixed martial arts, like even the Ankalaev Błachowicz draw, I didn't mind. I think sometimes there is countering and sort of you're offsetting one another. I think there was a lot of that in this fight. I just can't imagine. I love that I don't have to sit there and judge these fights by every 5 minutes. Like it's a fight like that that's close. It's like when it's over with, I can't tell you, and your brain, obviously, you actually can probably break it down as good as anyone. But the idea of, I look at a collective 25 minutes. I thought it might be a split because I thought it was a close fight, but breaking down round by round, and God forbid you ever see a 10-10 or a 9-9. You know what I mean? Like,
and I thought there was a couple that was like very close. And I was like, I would give that one a 10-10 or a 9-9. And I'm looking at it like I wanted to see what the judges gave it. And going back and seeing that was it Cleary that gave
round 5
Aljo the round 5. And I'm looking at I thought that was like one of the clearest rounds for Cejudo. But then I also did think that Aljo did get 3 rounds out of the first 4 anyway. Yep. But yeah, like you said, it's just hard because there's what was that end of that round where Aljo had that like elbow when he took Cejudo down, and it was like a nice elbow, and I thought he like maybe stole it just because of that elbow. And if we're talking about damage, that was like one of the hardest shots of the fight, but it didn't look like it. But I'm like, as a fighter, that's one of the hardest shots that you can land right there, bone on your head, and you weren't really expecting it. If you're looking at Cejudo, you're thinking, oh, we're in a grappling sequence, and all of a sudden, bam, caught him with that elbow, and I'm like, that was a really nice shot, and I think that was one of the shots that, all right, I'll give him that round just because of that one shot. But it's like you're so close to every little thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy for both of them. How about Triple C, though, coming back? Certainly game. And like if he sticks around, fights Merab, it's great for the division, great for the UFC. But let's move. Yeah, go ahead, Cody, because we're going to move back to UFC 288. I want to talk about Belal Muhammad again.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Cody.
There was one star at UFC 288. His name was Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. But for that Aljo fight, I thought Cejudo's corner did him a huge disservice. Like there seemed to be between rounds 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, there was like opposing information. Like I thought Santino and Eddie Cha were spot on, and then Captain Eric and whoever the jiu-jitsu coach was, I felt like were totally off. Like the jiu-jitsu guy would say something, and then Santino said the opposite. But I thought that they kind of steered him in the wrong direction, trying to almost like give him confidence with a fake scorecard. Like I don't think in the corner they did him much like of a service, because if they go out and kind of give that pressure, tell him like, hey, like you got to bank like some rounds here, maybe he fights differently. Henry's a very high IQ fighter, but when you tell him in the corner, oh, I think you're up, when he very clearly lost, like I thought he lost the first 2 rounds, 3 could go either way, 4 to Aljo, 5 to Cejudo. I thought the corner did him a huge disservice in that fight, but I really do hope he sticks around. He said that he called out Merab. Like I could totally see, him. I don't think he'll beat Merab, but I think he's good for the sport. So I hope he sticks around.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be excited if he does fight Merab. I think that'll be a really good fight. Size-wise, they're around the same size. And, Merab's wrestling. Obviously, Cejudo's a great wrestler. But I was surprised that Aljo was able to take him down a couple of times. I think that Cejudo underestimated Aljo's takedowns but he also had a couple where I'm looking at him like, bro, stop with the knee thing where you're like laying on your knees and you just like stand there in the front headlock area. I don't know why he does that. I want to like ask him if there's like a reason for that.
And even Sarah and Longo in the corner were like, yo, cut that shit out, because like it's a bad optic, regardless of if you're getting touched or not. It's a bad look for the judges. But
yeah, for sure.
That would be a fascinating conversation between a Belal Muhammad and an Aljamain Sterling, right? Because I felt like both of you guys had such a ability to kind of nullify your opponent with your footwork, with your stance switching, with your distance management. I felt like it was a master class in those co-main and main events. So that would be a great conversation. If you guys have you guys ever trained together? You ever been in the same room?
I mean, we talk all the time. We see each other. We fought on the last cars the same couple of times, but no, never trained together.
Isn't it funny? Main event Muhammad. Isn't it funny? This is Aljo's first main event. Isn't that
really? Is it?
Yes. Like, isn't that crazy?
Oh, wow. It is. Yeah.
I mean, as a champ, I mean, come on now. But that does happen from time to time, whatever. So let's get back to UFC 288. I love Aljo. I can't get enough. I think he's dripping with charisma. I don't know what, people, I'm thrilled for him and everything he's achieved. And I think he's absolutely one of the greatest of all time. And I don't even like greatest of all time conversations. He's accomplished incredible things. And I assume you agree.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
All right.
And then just like with his skill level and the way he's come back from big knockouts, like the Marlon Moraes one. And like a lot of people don't come back from that. And to come back from that and be a champion after that, it's like, it's an amazing story.
And until he faces Sandhagen again, and I would love to see that fight again. That win is an incredible win and continues to age incredibly well.
Great.
So, all right, let's go back. UFC, it was a crazy week, bro. So I just want to take you through some of my experiences at 288. I'm sure you have some experience. So day of the fight, I'm sitting outside the elevator. John and I went down to the gym for a little bit, come back up. The hotel room's being cleaned. We're sitting outside the elevators. Elevator door opens. Megan O'Leary walks through the door. Hi, Megan. Hey. Hey, she's like, so what's going on with Belal's ankle? You know, I'm sitting there, I'm having a great fudging Saturday sitting here at 11. And like you kept this close to the vest. You can be sure she knows, we host a show together, but obviously there's certain people that are going to know about this and very few are going to. Nobody really sort of knew. And, so then you see the image in the video and it's like, man, I was having a great Saturday. And I'm like, what is going on? And then it did start to sort of clarify some certain things. It did make some sense to me that perhaps this was the case. So, that was just an interesting experience that I wanted to share with you. You could be sure John in that moment hadn't heard a word about that.
It's funny because we're like, I'm looking at it like people are like texting us and they're like, oh, what's up with his ankle? What's this? What's that? And I'm like, who the heck is talking? And then cause I like to try to stay off social media.
I can tell.
I try to not look at anything. I'll post something. I won't read comments or anything like that on there. And it'll just like be dead. But we're looking at it and people are like messing. And then Anthony Pettis called up my chef Ian Larios, and then because like Ian's super like one of the best friends with Sergio Pettis, and like he kept calling Ian, and it was the day of the fight. And Ian's like cooking for me. He's like, oh, what does he want? I wonder what he wants. And like Anthony like texts him is like, oh, you're on UFC Embedded now. You don't know nobody, huh? And Ian calls him back, and like Ian's like talking to him in the corner, and it's like I'm like not trying to pay attention to it, but it's just like a weird conversation. And I'm like, oh, what do you want? He's like, oh no, he wants me to work with one of his guys for one of the fights, and he's just talking about it. And then like I was like, oh, okay. And then like after the fight, Ian was like, no, he was calling me because he's like, I'm gonna put a big bet on him. And how's he looking? How's his ankle looking? And Ian's like, bro, I don't know what, like, obviously I'm gonna say he's gonna win. Ian's like, I hate when people ask me that. Like, why would you ask you that?
Bro,
and then
Ian,
wonder why he was calling you.
Right. And then before the fight, it was clear that he's got 46,000 or whatever, 50 large on Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. Put your money where your mouth is. Let's go. That's a hit. Showtime, baby. That's a hit. Oh, so couple highlights. A lot of these fighters and people we meet, like even you and I only met a few months ago. But like Jamal Hill, who's been on the show a couple times and won a belt, who you love, you're well connected to. I love. Yeah. I never met dude before, so we're getting ready to go back to the hotel. Who comes off this bus? Maul Hill, pick my ass up, big hug by Maul Hill. What a great dude, And then I see in one of your, so that was a big highlight for me meeting the light heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
But then to see you on one of your reels, I see Jamal Hill greet you, right? And it's like just such an amazing, genuine moment between the two of you after you know what I mean? Knowing that, he got his shot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for you to get your shot, see you guys together, that had to be a very cool moment. He's a special guy.
Yeah. Honestly, like the walkout was like probably one of the best walkouts because you're like, we're sitting in the tunnel and I don't know. There was a bunch of Brazilians near us or something because like they're screaming "Uvai mujer, uvai mujer." That what is that like? Make kill you or something like that. They scream in Brazil. And I'm like, bro, we're in Jersey. What's the fuck's going on? And I'm waiting for my walkout music because I walked out second, so I'm waiting for my walkout music to come on. But then I was just like hearing that, and they were screaming, and I was there like, "You suck, you this." So walking out when my song played, and then seeing my brother, and then I saw Jamal Hill right before I got into the cage. And like we pointed at each other, and then I saw you when I was in the cage. Yep. And I was like, I got people here that love me. I got people here that are with me. So it was like a calming feeling in the middle of like chaos, and like that just like sets the mood. I think for the tone for the fight. And I was just like, all right, we're cool, we're chill. We got our guys here. We're good.
Unbelievable. At some point I look forward to spending time with your brothers so I can, because you could be sure they understand what it's like watching the fight. I feel like I'm like your mother sometimes watching the fight. It really is a unique experience, like, bro, I'm sitting there like after round 3, I'm like, sitting there basically talking to myself. I mean, there are people around me, but I'm like, I'm like, all right, man. Well, that's 3-0. Like, unless dude gets knocked out, he's fighting for the title. I'm like, just don't get knocked the fuck out. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of these conversations are just crazy. I can't wait to watch it back and just enjoy it in a different way.
Yeah, and going through the fight and your mind too. You're looking at it like, all right, well, this guy's still a dog no matter what, and right. I'm waiting for it, and he's throwing his bombs at me, and it's like whiffing past my head, and I'm like hearing Henry Hooft in his corner like yelling stuff to him. Like, dang, Henry, I thought we were boys. I was like, I love Henry Hooft so much. And I was like, dang, you're against me too. And I was like, it's like a weird situation because I like their team so much, and like I said, there was no animosity between me and Gilbert's. We both wanted the same thing. But I'm like, the dog's gonna come out. Like, it's gonna be a dog fight at some point. And I was like expecting it. And I was just like, let's just keep going. We're gonna keep going it. We're gonna keep moving it. And I just felt like I was in such a zone, in such a mode where I'm like, bro, there's nothing that's gonna stop me today. Like I said, people were like, oh, how did your foot feel during it? I'm like, bro, I didn't feel nothing. Like I didn't feel absolutely nothing until after the fight. And it was just like, I was just like on another realm during that whole fight.
Gilbert felt that foot.
Yeah.
Sure. Dude, so just what a night for your whole team. It just had to be just an incredible moment. So just a couple things I want to tell you about that I just find is just sort of interesting watching from afar. Big wins for a lot of guys. A lot of guys you see improving, like Matt Frivola, I think is a super improved fighter, and so we saw his twin brother. He's a twin. I think you probably knew that. Not identical. John's like, yeah, he's not a real twin, but his twin brother, like I saw him in the gym day before the fight. He's in his corner, but James, I believe his name, but nervous as you wouldn't believe, bro, and so I see them before Frivola's fight, just to all his team, but you can be sure when he won that fight, going over the cage to see his brother and see the footage of you seeing your brothers. I mean, it's just got to be unbelievable, man, to see your brothers who you grew up with watch you fight, man.
Bro, first shout out to the Steamroller's dad. Like his dad is like the coolest guy. Every time I saw him, he's like, yeah, they're like, this is your biggest fan. I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, I'm his dad, man.
I love it.
Let's kill it this week. I'm like, oh man, you're the best. It was so cool.
They call him the bulldozer, I guess.
His dad?
Now the bulldozer for Vola, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was like, bro, this guy's the man right here. And it was so cool to see because that was a huge fight for Steamroller. And Dober's still like such a good guy too. And I was like,
he is.
I thought that was going to be a war, but to see a guy like Steamroller, who's another guy who bounced back from a huge knockout loss, and he's putting a great wins together right now, and he's getting better every single fight. It's cool to see guys like that come on the come up now. But yeah, man, having my brothers there, it was like the best thing ever. My youngest brother, the one I shook up with when I was walking out, it's his birthday today too, and he was there, and he got there at like 8 p.m. He's like, I'm gonna come at 8 p.m. from Cleveland. I was like, no, dude, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. He's like, dude, I'm gonna make it. But so we didn't even walk until like 12 a.m. anyway. So I'm like, oh man. So to see him there was like perfect.
I love it. All right. So let's move to the future of Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. So what I wrote. Yeah, there it is. Oh yeah. We got to talk about that. Hey, yeah. You can be sure. I'm going, so I'm sitting there, behind John, whatever, the broadcast booth, and I mean, what am I not? I mean, I'm all fired up. You can be sure I'm going to greet you and you come down those stairs. I mean, oh, one of the best moments of my life. You can be sure.
Dude, that was so hype, man. I was like, oh, let's go.
Dude, I was jumping up and down. I didn't even, and I will say, like, and folks in Jersey, man, it's like, and I got to say, like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to disrespect nobody. I want to make sure that they keep this seat warm for me for the pay-per-views, but what a moment. That was incredible. Cody, you threw me off throwing that up there. That was nuts.
I needed it. I needed the reaction. And that was me sitting. I was sitting there in the luxury suites, just like, what? I can't hear you guys. 50-45?
But it's so funny.
What's up?
When you walk
50-45?
When I'm walking down the lane, every single one of them wants to take a picture with you. And I'm like, bro, where was the cheers at? You guys all want these pictures.
Exactly.
Want to be boys right now. I'm like, where was it? But it's funny because like I literally had like some old lady come up to me at like the hotel, and she was like talking, and she was like so nice. And then she's like, oh my God, you're so nice. Like, I don't know why I was booing. I was just going with the crowd. It was like after the press conference, and I was like, what? It's like, yeah, I was just going with the crowd. I didn't get it. And I was like, oh, all right. But that's the funny part. I said, when people like meet you and they want to see you in person, it's different. And I tell people that. But I'm like, dude, it's freaking Gilbert from New Jersey. And then we saw his wife. the Friday, and we saw his wife and kids, and she was like, she was like, yeah, don't worry, we felt the same thing when we fought Masvidal. I said, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's like, yeah, we were getting booed so much, so at least we're on the other end this time.
And
That's
some
okay.
context, I mean, Newark is like 50% Brazilian, so like
Oh,
Newark
really?
is like
That's
yeah,
what
there's
everyone
a
was
lot of
telling me.
Brazilians in
Oh,
Newark,
yeah.
so-
Once I was hearing the Uvai Moher, I was like, what the heck? Are we in Brazil right now? I was like, all right, cool.
All right. So the future, so I want to just read you what I wrote. I wrote, eat dessert, bully. Unless the fucking strap is in the building, you better be wearing street clothes if you're there. If you have to wait a year, so be it. Let's blow out Remember the Show in the meantime. And, I know these are probably considerations of yours. And like, to me, I'm thinking, well, hey, Colby, you can fight for the belt whenever you're ready, buddy. And let Leon and Belal pick a date. You know what I'm saying? But assuming they fight or whatever it is, it's like, I know you like to be active. It's sort of a weird thing. And so anyway, eat some dessert. I assume you're going to be, fighting for the belt the next time you make that walk.
Yeah, it's like, this is what you've been working your whole career for, to fight for the belt, to get the opportunity, because your life changes once you fight for it. Before this fight, it was like I was stuck in limbo, and I was like, what's next? And we kept talking, and we're like, I don't know what's next. Maybe Usman in July, August, and you're still like, I may have to fight one more after that, or there's still Gilbert out there that they're saying could be the next in line. But so that's what pushes me to take this fight on 3 weeks notice. And, even after taking this fight on 3 weeks notice, you're given that guarantee. You win, you're getting the title shot next. But it's still like, dang, did I make the right choice? I'm on a 10-fight winning streak. I put it all on the line for a 3-week notice fight. And I'm, my coaches, Lewis, had a family vacation plan, and they spent a lot of money. I said, oh, I got to go on this. I'm like, you're all good, bro. Horacio had a vacation plan with his wife. Congrats to him. His wife just got pregnant, and they were going to go to Bahamas before she got big enough to go. So he's like, I got to go. And I was like, it's all good. So I lost to the two guys for 2 weeks. And I'm like, bro, did I make the right choice? Did I make the right decision? Then we had the whole ankle thing. And I was like, bro, I feel like everything's going wrong right now at this moment. And then, the weight cut was probably the hardest weight cut we ever had. And I was like, and I'm looking at it, I was like, what the heck is happening? And I was like, bro, whatever. Then you get closer to fight week, and you're like, you start second guessing a couple of things. Oh man, should I just said 3 rounds? Do I have enough cardio for 5 rounds? Am I like, what if I go in there and get tired? Or if I win the first 3 rounds and then something happens in the 4th or 5th round, and they look at me like, oh, you're the one who asked for 5 rounds. That's what you get, or that's what you deserve. And you're like, all these things go in the back of your head. Yes. And it's like, you know what? Fudge it. Like, we're here. This is what we worked for. This is the moment of your life. Any fighter in the world, this is the part where you want to get. That's why I said, this is my title fight. I was getting my hands wrapped by House, and he's like, this is you're getting an interim title fight? This is for the interim belt, right? I was like, no, but it basically is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, dude. You're next to it with this. This is your interim belt. And I was like, yep. He's like, you ain't gonna get a belt, but you are getting a belt. And I was like, you're right. And it's like putting that in my head. I was like, let's go. And then, you're watching the guys, and we had what's his face in our locker room? The Gracie and Crone. And I'm looking at him, and he had like such a terrible fight. I'm like, dang, is our locker room bad luck right now? I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Right. But I was like, I didn't like just him warming up. I was sitting there like, I didn't understand what his game plan was. But he had Damian Maia in his corner. It was cool to see Damian Maia in the locker room. He's such a cool guy. But I was just like, they weren't really doing much, to the point where I was sitting there like, all right, maybe he just chill. Like, he was just listening to music. He had a good music choice. He had nothing but Tupac bumping in there. And I was like, all right, this is a good little album, getting me hyped a little bit. But I was sitting there like, man, what's happening? And then to have Evilov fight before me, and him to get on the mic, and he was like, oh, I got a little tired. It was Ramadan. So my body didn't adjust.
Oh,
and I'm
that's
like,
right.
dang. Yeah, I was like, dang, am I gonna get tired in there? I'm like, all these random thoughts just go in your head. And then Lou looked at me. He's like, bro, smile, have fun. This is like, embrace the journey, because we're here now. Like, that's it. Like, this is what you work for. This is what we did. Have fun. Stop stressing out about anything. The result doesn't matter right now. Like, the moments that we're here right now, the team's here right now, you're with your boys right now. This is it. This is like everything that happened the day before, whatever. Everything that happened the week before, whatever. It's like 25 minutes. We just have 25 minutes right now to change your life. And I was like, you're right. Let's go.
I love it, dude.
Well,
and in this, go ahead, Cody.
not even, I don't even know how to form this as a question, but like you're describing all of these things and it's right after Ramadan, right? So you're like spiritually at like you're most cleansed, like, and all these tests seem to be happening, you know, like the corner differences, the ankle, like all these things. Like, do you feel like that not benefited you, but like coming off of Ramadan, like, don't you feel like all of this was God's plan? Like it was all a test, you know, and like you had to overcome all of these things put in front of you to get to that goal. I'm like tear up
Yeah.
right now. Like it just seems like so like pristine of a moment, like all these things that you had to overcome and you did it, you know, like
Yeah, no, for sure. Exactly. And I like write it down. Like I write myself notes all week and I was like, God put you here for a reason. God made this happen for a reason. And it was like, we were stuck. We were in the middle of what's next? What's next? Are we going to still get it? Maybe we're still not even going to get the title shot next. And then it's looking at it like, all right, you know what? He made that happen. Like he made, all right, something happened to the Coleman event with Darush and them. Gilbert was just fought, so he was ready to fight again. And you were healthy enough to fight at that moment. You were healthy enough to say yeah, and you had the guts to say yeah at that moment. Because now thinking back, like, what if I would have said, nah, never mind. Like I would have been sitting here depressed, still mad, still stuck with no fight in mind. Maybe Gilbert would have fought somebody else on this card, got himself a guaranteed title shot just because he was man enough to take a fight on this card. And it's like thinking about all those scenarios, different ways happening. Like you said, God's plan is always the best plan for everything, little reason, every little intricacy that happens. There's a reason for it. And it's like, all right, now it all makes sense. And I just feel like it's all driving me toward that title. And it's all going to, like, when I have that belt to wrap around my waist, there's nothing that's going to deny me.
Well, how about the fact that, sorry.
No, you're good.
How about the fact that all of that lines up and then Leon is now kind of backing himself into a corner where if the event was in London, like the option for you to like be a headliner and step in there and be a star, like isn't as high. But now he's like, oh, I want to fight in Abu Dhabi. And it's like, well, you're not doing yourself any favors because now the king of Abu Dhabi just went out and had a dominant win and he's next in line. So that option for the UFC is like, oh, well, look at this nice little backdoor. Like he's not the smartest guy promotionally when it comes to all of these things. And I feel like that might be his downfall, you know? And I mean, I would love to see you get the win against Leon back to prove all these idiots wrong that say, oh, well, you were getting washed in a 10-9 first round, blah, blah, blah. And then I would love to see you shut Kobe up, but to do it in Abu Dhabi, like would be such a storybook. You know, I hope that happens.
So I'm just curious, Belal, like if Colby and Leon gets announced and they're going to fight, which it's hard for me to even imagine that really happening because it feels like a little bit of a joke, you know, but if they announce that, like, I mean, I'm really curious. Do you prepare to be the backup? Do you go through a training camp? Do you prepare to be ready for that date?
No, I don't. I'm not gonna weigh in as a backup. Obviously, I'm still gonna be training, and now at least we know who it's either gonna be one of those two, and you know both of them are southpaw. So regardless, my next fight will be training for a southpaw. So I'm in the training room no matter what. Nacho just got a fight. Looks like he's in the works, so he's gonna be training. So I'm gonna be in there helping him out. But I'll be ready, but I won't be trying to be, I want to weigh in as a backup. I'm not going to weigh in as a backup just to get paid.
Good.
If something happens 3 weeks, 4 weeks out and one of them pull out, I'm ready to step in. But I'm not going to weigh in just for that.
And especially if you're the Sean O'Malley to that fight, right? Like you show up in Abu Dhabi, get some appearance fee. Like your appearance fees in Abu Dhabi could be higher than your show money. You know what I mean? Like, so it makes all the sense in the world for you to at least be there. And then I
don't think they would definitely not put that fight in Abu Dhabi. And if it's not me on the card, they're not going to make Kobe against Leon in Abu Dhabi. Like that makes zero sense at all. So if it ends up being in Abu Dhabi, I think, like I said, I think Kobe now is starting to get nervous. I think he's starting to realize, like, bro, wait, are they going to realize that I haven't fought in 500 days and Belal has 3 ranked wins in those 500 days, and you know maybe Dana's going to give it to somebody else. So now he's trying to do interviews and try to get headlines. Oh, I'll be Adesanya, I'll be Islam Makhachev, and these dumb reporters will sit there and make a headline. Kobe says he'll be Adesanya. Kobe says he'll be Makhachev, just so he get a headline because nobody knows who he is. He hasn't been fighting in how long. He's not going to make headlines fighting. So he's kind of like a Conor McGregor, where whenever there's a big fight going on, he'll make a tweet and then they'll make a bunch of articles about it because nobody cares. And I don't think nobody really cares about him regardless. But for some reason, obviously, they want to make that fight.
So I have to say for you, Belal, the last 6 months or whatever it is, whether it's Colby weighing in as the backup or whatever, all the stuff you've had to deal with, whether it's, just everything, bro. It's like, enjoy this moment now, right? Where, oh, what's my next fight? Oh, the winner of these two guys. Do you know what? All the stuff you've had to deal with, Shavkat, all the bullshit flying around, all the bad nonsense. Just enjoy every day. And I know you do it anyway. And I know you handle the adversity well, but you deserve to have this be the thought now, because it wasn't always fun to be thinking about what was next.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's what Lou's trying to get in my head. Like, bro, appreciate the journey, enjoy the journey. Because, for me, I'm like, I had that Kobe Bryant mindset. Job's not done yet. Once I have the belt, then I'll relax, then I'll chill. He's like, no, dude, go on a vacation, go chill. Like, you still have to wait for these guys to fight. Relax. Like, this is you have your spot. You know what's next. The title shot's next. Dana said it coming out of his mouth multiple times. So it's like, you don't have to worry or stress about what's next. So appreciate it. Enjoy this moment right now. Go on your little parade.
Yeah, Michael Jordan went and played baseball for a couple years. So just go.
I go play pickleball.
Everybody says, like, you don't get better in camp. You get better outside of camp. You get a year to prepare for a South. Like, the last Belal Muhammad we saw in the octagon is the best that I've seen.
Yeah.
And he's going to
And that's what I tell these guys. I'm like, bro, if you're going to give me the more time it takes, the worse it's going to be for both of these guys. It's like, I'm just going to keep getting better, keep growing. I'm not a guy that stays out of the gym. And I just showed you this weekend, even Dana White was like, oh man, bro, you lied. You said you coming off the couch. And I'm like, bro, I mean, I'm coming off the couch, but I'm still in training shape. I'm not going to be out of shape regardless. And for me to go 25 hard minutes in 3 weeks, it's like, what did he think? Oh, well, Kobe has great cardio. Oh, okay. Well, I had better cardio. Well, Leon has, great striking. Oh, I just showed I have great striking too. And I have great wrestling too. And I have a great mindset too. That's going to break both of these guys, either one of them. So I'm like, if I'm them, it's like, yo, we need to get this fight out the way real quick. Or you're Kobe, you're looking at it. You know what? Maybe I'll just go up to 85 right now because I don't want to get embarrassed. Because whichever one of these guys loses, it's going to be even more embarrassing. It's because the fans think I suck. So I'm going to go out there. You're going to lose to somebody that sucks. And I was going to keep doing it, keep winning. Now I'm going to have the belt around my waist.
Oh, can't get enough. I don't know if you caught Kenny Florian, a couple comments about you this week, said the fight against Gilbert Burns, a lot like you being the teacher, Gilbert Burns the student. You saw a lot of that. One of the most intelligent fighters he's ever seen in the octagon. Remember the name? Yeah.
No, I mean, I appreciate that. Like, coming from like a guy like that who knows and understands it. And I tell people, I was like, I think that's the difference between me and a lot of these guys is I tell you, when we break down these guys, we know what'll work against them, what won't work against them. And for me, it's like, I'm not a guy that's going to shy away from anything. And I know what'll break these guys. And when they're in there with me, they underestimate my strength. They underestimate my power. They underestimate this and that and that. And like, even with him, he was in there when I fought Luke, and he was like, telling Luke, oh, do this, do that. Like, there's a million moments probably where he thought like, oh, Luke, that was just a bad night for you. Or those kicks didn't hurt as much as that, or you should have did this or that. And then when you go in there and you feel it, it's like, it's different. And when you stand there and you're in front of me and I'm still in front of your face the whole time and I'm not backing down at all. And it's like, oh, okay. And then it's hard to catch reads on me and it's hard to catch ideas. And if you've got a guy in front of you that's not getting tired at all and you're looking at it like, bro, I don't know what to do. It frustrates you. And I think a lot of that happened Saturday.
Love these comments.
My brother.
The way Belal stuffed that takedown and put all his weight on Burns as they fell as it took out the shoulder. Belal's takedown defense hit it. Stuffy and salty. And
that's what I tell people too. I look at people and I tell them like, oh man, Gilbert Burns got injured. And I'm like, he got injured from the takedown. He got injured from the defense that I did. It's like you go into a fight, you get cut from a punch. You get your shoulder hurts from a takedown. It didn't come from him just walking randomly and his shoulder just popped out or anything like that. It was because of that. But also for me, it's like, I knew that he was going to break because of that. He didn't break mentally. He was still throwing bombs with that right hand, still in the fight. If the shoulder was that bad, he could have just tapped out in between rounds. So for me, it was still a dog in the fight, and a wounded dog is still a dangerous dog, especially for a guy like Gilbert Burns. But I tell people, like, that injury happened from that takedown. People underestimate my strength, and you come in there, you shot a really good double leg, but the takedown's not done until I'm out. And, it all went out to the shoulder, and it was just from me. It was caused by my hips.
Good question here, Carlos. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much input do you have in the tactical plan your coaches make for your opponents?
Like we talk about it, we sit down, we discuss it, but like I trust my coaches. I think I have some of the best coaches in the world. And the way they see things, I'll see the same things the same way. And we'll have an idea. All right, we like it this way, and then I'll put it into sparring. With this camp, since it was such a short camp, 3 weeks, and we couldn't do very much cardio, like running or anything like that. It was all sparring. It was all like lighter sparring stuff, and just putting the game plan to use and seeing how it worked into sparring. So once we got the first couple out of the way, I was like, all right, well, this one's working right now, and I think it'll work against Gilbert Burns. So once we have that idea, if it works in sparring, we know it's going to work in the fight.
I have to say, I don't even know where it is in my notes. It's starting to look great on paper, huh, Bully? What's that, 23-3 as a pro? What, right? 23-3 as a pro. I mean, like all these people, it's like, go look them up, okay? Go look up the last 5. It's just, crazy to me how a humble guy like you. Yeah, you kept proving all the haters wrong over and over again. Much love from Germany. Maximilian.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. Yeah, for me, like I said, it's people are going to hate. They're going to keep moving the goalposts for me no matter what. And I already have that in my mind. 90% of these people is like they meet you in person. They're not going to have that same energy. They're going to be fans in person. But a lot of these people will just go with the group. And everybody's hating him for a reason. So maybe I should hate him too. And to me, it doesn't bother me because, like I said, the circle I have around me, the people that I know really care, the people that are going to be there after you lose a fight, that are still going to text you and check on you, those are the ones that you really care about. Those are the really ones that their opinion matters.
So quick Bick before we get to the Bicks, and I think you were asked this earlier in the week on other programming, but who do you think will win, Leon, Colby?
To me, I think I would give it to Leon. I think Colby, like I said, he's a volume striker, but he gets hit a lot, and he'll shoot a lot of shots on you, but he's not good at holding you down. I think Leon showed against Usman in the second fight that he was getting up. The third fight that he was getting up a lot better than the second fight. And once he gets to his feet, I think that he'll end up catching Colby. Colby's not really good against southpaws, I don't think. And I think that when Usman was switching to southpaw a lot of the time, that's when he would catch Colby when they fought. But I think that I'll give it to Leon, especially since Colby's been out for so long. And I just don't think Colby's as good as people think he is.
I want to just say one more thing before we make the Bicks.
Hold on.
Sorry, go ahead. Why was you switching
stances so much? I switch stances because Gilbert's a guy that plants his feet. He plants his feet and he throws. So if I'm switching stances, it makes him have to adjust. It makes him have to move a little bit. If he's ready to throw right now, then I switch stances on him. All right, hold up. He has to reset his whole thing. He has to reset his whole power, reset his legs, and it just makes him think, oh, that's not the right time to take the shot. That's not the right time to throw this punch. That's one of the biggest keys why we switch stances so much.
I just want to say before the Bicks, it's like, so I was in Newark. I had to be there for business unrelated to this, which to me was sort of a sign that you ended up on this card. I had never seen you fight live. And yes, I had met you a couple times, Bully, but like, so I'm in the hotel and it just became fate, right? First person I see in the hotel when I walk out of an elevator, Belal and Lou Taylor, right? First people I see, right? And whatever, you do bump into a lot of people, and like I see, it's a crazy experience for me walking around because everyone like thinks they know me, but they don't know me, So, next day or 2 days later, right? I go back downstairs. First person I see when I get out of the elevator, Belal and his whole team coming back from the press or whatever it is, right? And I'm like telling my brother, I'm like, this is just fate, man. It's like every time I go anywhere in this hotel, the first person I see is Belal, right? And then it was like the next day, and Belal not even staying at the hotel. He's just there.
I'm about to say that. That's funny.
Right. So like literally the next day, something happened. It became kind of a joke with John and I, because every time I come back to I would like get him his food, and I'd be like, I ran into this dude who thought I was you, and blah, blah, just over and over again. But like it got to the point where I would walk in the room, he'd be like, did you bump into Belal? Like, and he was like almost not even joking, but it's fate, it's love. Let's go to the Bicks, Mr. Merrow. Sorry, I threw.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm too hype. I'm getting too excited. I didn't have my lowers ready. I'm like getting my lowers ready, listening to your story.
I'm all fired up. It's the first Bick we're going to make. It's in your division, welterweight division, number 15, Daniel Rodriguez against Ian Machado Gary. And it's just interesting. You think about, we started this show September 2020. Yeah, you were unranked. That's well documented, right? But this is like the fight that you would have been in back then, right? I believe Diego Lima might have been the first guy you beat after we started the show. But just, I love sitting here with you today talking about this bout between number 15 and an unranked guy. It feels good. All right. So Ian Gary can move into the rankings. D-Rod is the 15th ranked with a win here. So I love this matchup. My brother's been talking to me about Ian Gary before for a long time. Undefeated at 11-0 as a pro. Impressive performance and knockout last time out against Song Kanan. That was March 4th of this year. I love when guys like this are getting back in there 2 months later or being active. But getting a capable veteran here in D-Rod, Ian Gary's a big favorite here. D-Rod's tough, man. He won 4 straight before a setback against Neil Magny. Darce choke round 3. That was November 5th of last year. Belal Muhammad, welterweights competing here. Who do you got?
Man, that's crazy number. Ian Gary, minus 300. I'm surprised by that. I just think level of competition. I think D-Rod fought tougher guys. And then fighting Neil Magny. The second round, he had a really good round. I think he just got tired in that fight. So Magny's a lot taller. Ian Gary's like a taller welterweight. But Ian, he's very good with his counter striking, good stance, good straight punches. But I think we'll go with D-Rod here. I think D-Rod's level of competition, fought tougher guys. He got power. Ian showed his last fight. He could get hit. He could get rocked. I just don't think that, I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself because there are so many people are comparing him to Conor, and he feels like he has to match that. And I don't know. It just seems weird because he seems like a nice guy. And then he goes after the fight and was talking about his last opponent, the Song guy. He's like, oh, I want to make him pay for wanting to fight me. And I was like, what the fudge? I thought you were a nice guy. All right, you won the fight. I hate when guys post pictures of somebody they beat. I even hate posting highlights of it because you already won the fight. You don't want to sit there and rub it in one of these guys' faces or anything like that. But yeah, I'm gonna give it to D-Rod here.
I like it, Cody.
Well, unless it's Leon or Kobe, then we're gonna rub it in as much as possible.
I'm gonna spit on Kobe's grave.
My analysis aligns, with you, Belal. I do think Ian Gary minus 300 is a little bit ridiculous of a number. I think it's a lot of recency bias because of D-Rod's last performance against Magny, which I thought he was going to walk through Magny. Magny, as we've said on this program before, your words, not mine. Magny sucks. He beat my ass, but that doesn't mean I can't make a pick. I think D-Rod gets it done too. I don't know how to gauge Ian Gary. If you're asking me who would I rather sit down and have a beer with, it's D-Rod 10 times out of 10. So, maybe that's kind of jading my analysis a little bit, but I think D-Rod gets it done. I think he is the bigger guy. He's definitely going to come in there with a bit of a size advantage, at least with the body. I don't think Ian's, game plan is going to be to take D-Rod down like Magny's was. So I think D-Rod will get it done striking on the feet. Gary's proved that he's a dog. I don't think it'll be a quick fight, but I do think D-Rod gets it done.
I like it. Both guys on the dog first fight. Co-main event, close one. Pick'em fight on paper, light heavyweight division. Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker. So Johnny Walker's had an interesting sort of up and down career, but certainly seems very much to be on the right track here and on the upswing. 2 straight wins. Iwan Kutalaba, Paul Craig, couple good veterans there. Gets another veteran here, but one of a little higher class in Lionheart Smith. So I have to say, I was in the presence of Anthony Smith when he found out that Jamal Hill was getting the title fight against in Brazil against Teixeira. And it was just very interesting, right? It was very odd. It was basically after that dud with Ankalaev and Blachowicz that I love, that draw, and so Anthony Smith I told the story in the show before, Belal, you probably remember, but Anthony Smith is literally sitting there with a headset and he hears them telling the television talent and everybody else, yo, you're about to announce Jamal Hill fighting for the belt. And he's like, what about me? Where does this leave me? He was supposed to fight Jamal Hill. So this has obviously gone down, and now he gets Johnny Walker. Certainly, I don't know, but kind of a similar matchup to Jamal Hill. But anyway, I thought that was crazy. So he did lose Anthony Smith, I'm saying, to Ankalaev. That was last July. He had won 3 straight prior. A lot of TV, a lot of stuff going on. But this guy's fought the best in the world, Anthony Smith, and beat a lot of them. Fascinating matchup here. I love close fights on paper. Cody, why don't you start us here? Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker, Blue.
So I think a bit of the backstory is what gives me pause with this pick. I'll start with my pick and then follow the analysis. I think Anthony Smith is going to get it done. But what gives me pause and concern about that is, A, when he weighed in for the backup, he was not in shape. So, it comes into question a bit of that preparation. This week, they announced that Smith is going to fight Teixeira or grapple Teixeira on a UFC Fight Pass grappling card. So they're already starting to promote that, and one has to wonder, is your mind totally on this fight? I like Anthony Smith. I like the podcast he does with Bisping. I think he is one of the smarter fighters in the game. He's a great desk analyst, but one has to wonder if, is his mind all there? He's getting older. Is he focusing more outside the cage than in? But I do think this fight aligns with a lot of what he does well, which is to kind of be one step ahead. I think he's got to be one step ahead of Johnny Walker to avoid any of that power. I don't think Johnny Walker has much to say in terms of wrestling defense or grappling acumen. He hasn't really shown that. So I'm going to go with Smith, but I think this fight is rightfully a pick 'em. It's a coin flip. I think it could go either way.
Bilal?
Yeah, I mean, I think Anthony, that's why I said I don't like being a backup fighter, because I don't think he had the same motivation being a backup fighter, because you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to fight. Then you get down there and you're seeing both guys healthy and you're like, all right, most likely these guys are going to fight and there's no reason for me to fight. And, you're in Brazil. I'm pretty sure he acai bowls and he's just chilling and stuff like that, because it's not the same type of motivation. That's why I don't really like the backup role. But I think for Anthony Smith, he has to be motivated because he knows he could be next. He's that guy. There's not a lot of big names at 205, and he's one of the biggest names there. And you could tell it was because they gave him the backup role when, coming off of a loss, still being a backup role for a title fight. Obviously, they think you're a big name at 205. So you get a win here, you probably could be fighting for the title next. Who knows? So I do think that he's definitely, not looking past Johnny Walker, but I don't think Johnny Walker is on his level. I think Johnny Walker, his only moments would be like if he had a crazy knockout. And that's what happens a lot of the time. He'll get rocked, and then all of a sudden these guys will try to bull rush in, and then he'll catch him with something, or he'll just come out there, throw something wild and catch you with something. But I think Anthony Smith is too smart for that. I think he's going to be patient, probably take Johnny Walker down or take him into later rounds and then finish him there. I think that he's going to be a little bit too crisp for him. His ground game, I think, is a lot better than his. But I don't think Johnny Walker ever goes into any fights with like a game plan. I think Johnny Walker just goes in there. Let's see what happens. If I land or he lands, let's see who wins. But I think Anthony Smith is going to be coming in there a lot smarter, especially knowing that with a win here, he could definitely be next in line.
All right, the boys are aligned on the first two. Let's move to the main event. Jairzinho Rozenstruik +400. Jailton Almeida -500. So Almeida, dude, this dude's all the rage, huh? 4-0 in the UFC, 13-fight winning streak. John saying he could compete potentially heavyweight or light heavyweight for the title someday. All 4 UFC wins by finish. What am I missing here? Rozenstruik, you never know what to make from him. He's coming off a big first-round knockout of Chris Daukaus, but that's a smaller guy. He's going to be the bigger man here. I mean, Bully, Biggie Boy. I love when he's on the card. Does he have any shot here?
I mean, heavyweight, everybody got a shot because all it takes is one punch, and, Rozenstruik got that power. I just think Almeida, he just has so much hype, and he's so fast, and he's so strong, and especially once it hits the ground, his ground is so much better than a lot of these guys. And for these heavyweights who aren't as athletic, he's very athletic. And I think that, Biggie Boy, I don't think he is athletic. I think once he hits the ground, I don't think it'll be pretty hard for Jailton to tap him out or get mount on him. I think with heavyweights, if you're a good grappler and you have some athletic ability and, athleticism, you take one of these guys down, you're going to be close to a title shot very easily. And I think Almeida here, he's going to go out there and prove a lot of guys, show these guys that, he can be a double champ with how good he is and how fast he is and how strong he is. And I think it's going to be a finish. I think that 500 is a good number for him.
Bone marrow?
Yeah, this was one, if you go onto the DraftKings Sportsbook in the featured parlay section for the Anik and Florian podcast parlay, I had to hunt because there's so many favorites on this card that were chosen on the show. And Almeida with the under 3.5 is where I was leaning, because you can't bet on that -500 number, but I do think Almeida checks all the boxes, as you said. My only gripe is that this is the main event. I think that Smith versus Walker should have been the main event. I don't think that this fight is close enough, and I pray that the UFC stops putting mid-level heavyweight fights in main events, but who knows? Aspinall versus Tybura is going to be the main event for London. But I think Bully hit the nail on the head. Almeida does everything right, especially in this division. There hasn't been a good grappler since Fabricio Verdum. John Jones is obviously a very high-level grappler, high-level wrestler, but if you're a good striker, you could be a top 5 heavyweight fighter. Do you have the grappling? That's what makes you a champion. I think Almeida is going to go in there and probably starts Rozenstruik. He puts himself in a lot of bad situations. He's too kickboxing oriented, and he kind of gets in love with the firefight. He's kind of like a Derek Lewis, in that sense. He kind of just falls in love with the kickboxing range. I don't think this is the fight to do that. So I'm aligned with Bully here. I would be shocked if it makes it into the 3rd round. So give me Almeida.
All right. So one random question, Bully, that I wanted to ask you. I know you know the answer because you're you, but I assume you remember the only split decision in your pro career. Do you remember who that was against? Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So, because, it's like there's a lot of hate out there, whether talk about decision, but it's like not a lot of split decision. Belal Muhammad, it's unanimous decision, right? But there was one split decision in your career was against Tim Means, if you recall.
Oh, wow.
In Sydney, Australia. Tim Means fighting on the card this weekend. So I guess I first want to ask you, because your brain is a steel trap, how well do you remember that fight? And everyone, if they're talking about a split decision, but so how well do you remember that fight? Do you remember the moment? Do you think you won? Do you remember the split? Anything about it?
Dude, you know one of the craziest things about that fight? Me and Lou were like in the back warming up for that fight, and we went like knee to knee, and like super bad, and like I couldn't put my knee onto the floor. So like I got like a takedown on Tim Means, one takedown, and then like my knee hit the floor, and I was like, oh, I got to get up. So like I like stood up, so like it was all on the feet. But yeah, I definitely won the fight. But after the fight, I went and got like checked out because it was like 3 weeks passed, and it was like my knee was still killing me, and I ended up like tearing my meniscus. I had to have like surgery on there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, no way. It was from the knee to knee. And I tell people, I like, bro, like, because the only way to warm up, the only way to train is to like, you have to put your body into that stuff. And it's like for the guys like Khabib and all these guys to come out of fights unscathed and to, be undefeated, because like there's so many scenarios where something crazy or bad could happen. It just shows like how hard it is to win in this sport. Yeah.
Absolutely. Survival of the fittest, and so Gilbert, good news, no surgery required, right? I assume you're good other than healing up that foot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm glad that he doesn't have surgery, especially shoulder surgery is usually the worst things to come back from. So I'm glad that he doesn't have to go under the knife. And for me, yeah, it's like bumps and bruises, but nothing that I would need like surgery or anything from for sure.
0 bruises on the face. I don't see a thing.
Who looked better? Who looked better after fighting Gilbert Burns? Hamzat Chimaev or Belal Muhammad with an extra 10 minutes? Belal Muhammad with 2 ankles puts Gilbert Burns away. I'm sick of hearing everybody talking about, one-arm Gilbert, one-arm Gilbert. Belal hurt Gilbert. Belal hurt himself walking into the fucking octagon. So I don't want to hear it. Belal on 2 ankles can dunk.
Well, exactly. It's a very unique situation that you're in right now, and I love it. We'll be at International Fight Week. We got to get it live set, Cody. We got to blow this thing out. So by the time, Belal has the strap, we got like a studio, and that belt's just
that's the day before my birthday too. I'll be there for sure.
You'll ring in 35 in a nice way this summer. Exactly, dude. That's awesome. Well, dude, my deepest congratulations. What a moment for you. Your fans are growing. Team Muhammad is growing. My brother felt emotions I'm not sure he's ever felt sitting with that headset on. So congratulations. Remember the name Muhammad.
My brother.
Next welterweight, fighting for the title. Anyway, episode 99 in the books. We'll see you for episode 100 next week for Bone Marrow and Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. My name is Jason Anik. Appreciate you being with us. Later.
Peace.
Peace.